My father grew up in a small town in Long Island, New York, called Point Lookout. In my childhood, my family frequently vacationed in this small beach town. Point Lookout is about an hour-and-a-half drive from the Hamptons and from New York City. Homes in Point Lookout today all cost upwards of $1 million. Although it has become a much more expensive place to live in recent years, it was home to affluent families even when my dad grew up there. My father's family had a live-in maid who was an African-American woman of low socioeconomic status. My grandfather is a graduate of Fordham University who went on to be a technical writer, and he began a legacy at Fordham that continues in my family today. My uncle went to Fordham Preparatory School, my father graduated from Fordham Law, and my cousin received his undergraduate education at Fordham. Looking back on my experience of visiting Point Lookout and seeing my father's upbringing, I come to a realization of the privilege I've experienced. However, during one of our vacations back east, one experience stands out in my mind, an experience that I identify as one of my first profound experiences of feeling empathy. At 12 years old, I had just been diagnosed with depression and was frequently having auditory hallucinations and seizures. That summer, we made a trip from Point Lookout to the city and took the subway to get to Yankee Stadium for a baseball game. Two men sat across the aisle from us on the subway ride, one of whom had a visible developmental disability. Throughout the duration of the ride, the able man verbally abused the man with the disability. I don't remember the man's exact words, but I do remember the hate they were charged with. I remember being profoundly affected by this, crying on my mom's shoulder and pleading with her that we needed to do something to stand up for the developmentally disabled man. We needed to do something to help him. I think that part of me identified with him as being taken from class because I was hearing voices or having a seizure was some of my first experience with my own disability. It made me feel different than other kids. I pleaded with my parents to do something to help this man, to stand up for him, to show him we cared. But my dad instructed me that this was not safe to do. This was New York City, not Helena, Montana. Looking back on this experience, I still wonder what it would have been like to stand up for this man who could have used a voice to speak up for him. I'm also led to contemplate my privilege. I'm led to recognize that privilege played a role in allowing me to attend a private Catholic university for my undergraduate degree and to come to Missoula for my master's degree. I recognize the intersection between my experience of privilege and my experience as a person with a disability, and I find myself in a place of empathy. I hope that I can use the whole of my experience to stand alongside people of all walks of life, today and in the future.